What's going on, boys? And welcome back to Footy with an Edge. We're here for another Kobbie Mainoo video because Bruno actually came out and had a bit of an explosive interview, I guess. I'm not really sure how to feel about it. I'm not really sure how the club allowed him to say what he said, because it does seem a little bit like the club's being thrown under. Let me make sure. I'm saying hello to everybody. Rishikesh says loyalty. RJ says peace and blessings, everyone. I like the Semenyo links. Loyalty earned and deserved over everything all day, week, month, year long. Outer Signal says hello. Hey, how you doing, man? Um, Let me make sure I have the chat up here. Hold on one second. Wait, am I? Okay, yeah, this is working. Great. Shaylin says hello. Hey, Shaylin, how you doing? Joao Pino says hi. How you doing? How's everyone doing, man? A great Tuesday after a great Monday, full of energy. Yeah, what's good, man? Nice to see you, low energy. And let me just pull up Bruno's quotes here. Bruno Fernandes. Okay, so he said he could have joined a Saudi Pro League club, Al Hilal, for 100 million pounds. He said he was hurt and sad about how the situation had been handled in an interview with Portuguese TV station Canal 11. Sky Sports News understands the club's leadership were clear with Fernandes throughout the summer and remain adamant that he is part of their plans and have no desire to sell him. Fernandes said in October that United's hierarchy told him they would not stand in his way if he wished to leave, but they wanted to keep him. However, the 31-year-old, who has a contract until 2027 with the option of a further year, struck a very different tone in this interview, which was recorded in November. Okay. He says, I decided not to go to Saudi Arabia, not only for family reasons, but because I genuinely like the club. From the club, I felt, if you go, it's not that bad for us. It hurts me a bit. More than hurting, it makes me sad. I'm a player who has nothing to point to, who has nothing to, oh, okay, like there's nothing you can say against him. I'm always available. I always give the best of me. And then, yeah, essentially, Amorim wanted him to stay, so nobody from above said anything. He said, the club wanted me to go away. I told the directors that I don't think they had the courage to make that decision because the coach wanted me. But if I said I wanted to leave, even though the coach wanted me to stay, the club would let me. Okay. Al Hilal are not guaranteed to make another move for Bruno. This is from Kaveh Solokal, who's the Sky Sports chief reporter. He says Al Hilal are not guaranteed to make another move for Bruno Fernandes next summer, especially because the club is about to be bought by billionaire investor Prince Al Walid bin Talal. Al Hilal are currently majority owned by the Public Investment Fund. Prince Al Walid's takeover, which could value the club up to 2 billion reals, could see one of Saudi Arabia's biggest clubs be privately owned for the first time. Al Hilal are expected to spend big under new ownership in the summer, but Fernandes will be 32 in September, and Saudi clubs have been targeting younger players. Okay, interesting. Yeah. So, what do you guys think about this? Let me just get a poll started. Let me see here. Just started a poll for you guys. We got a super chat from Devo66. Thank you, man. He says, Mainoo out, culture over emotions, sack like Garna. We can buy skilled players. Attitude is important. Last season, he was asking for top money. Now this. Yeah, I mean, listen, man. Okay, hold on. I appreciate your super chat, Devo, but I just need to address this comment. Real Chaos says Mainoo doesn't control what his brother does. Yes, he does, bro. Yes, he does. Okay. His brother is not wearing that t-shirt and coming to the ground without Mainoo knowing exactly what he's doing. Okay. So this is, listen, that's the same as me saying, I don't know what Rishi does. Okay. I can't say that. Like, that's, if Rishi does something, it reflects poorly on me, or if Rishi does something well, it reflects well on me. So it's the same way. Right. But yeah, Devo 66, I agree with you, man. Culture over emotions, absolutely. We need people don't realize how much Bruno's actually done for us, and we will realize it as soon as he leaves, right? That's just the sad truth. Um nobody really appreciates what Bruno does or what he stands for. Because you look at someone like what's his name, Brian Mbumo, right? Mbumo has come to this club and he has basically, had a good start. He scored and assisted, a couple of goals here and there. But what happened after that, right? He's feeling the pressure of the shirt. I think the Cameroon exit also hurt him a little bit. And this is just the pressure that Bruno's been dealing with for years and years and years. So once he goes, who's going to be the one that stands up and holds the pressure? Who's going to be the de facto best player in our team? That's the concern I have. I mean, we can talk about getting money for him and all that, but like, come on. The thing about Bruno is, Rishi says, the thing about Bruno is this was unnecessary at this point in time. He has a contract. He can leave in the summer if he likes. It sets poor precedent to other players that they can speak publicly. Yeah, I mean, that part we can criticize him for, because I'm not really sure what the point of this conversation was, right? Because he had done another interview where he talked about this as well. So um, I'm not really sure. If we keep selling our star players just for the sake of selling, else we end up like Delhi Daredevils. Yeah, some IPL knowledge here. Tactical Devil says, didn't I say we play with chaos and we're unbalanced in our transition defense? We can't stop players running at us in transition. Um, I also think it had a lot to do with our center backs being super. I'm assuming this is Jarvis. Is this Jarvis? Um, yeah. So basically, like, can't stop players running at us in transition. Yeah, this is a problem we've had for a long time. And listen, you see the last goal, like the way Kobbie Mainoo just jumps out of his position for no reason, right? He doesn't keep his positional discipline, and that exposes us completely on the counterattack. Um, and there's a reason why when Statman Dave did that video covering covering the defensive mistakes for the team, he looked at oh, hey, it is Jarvis. Okay, awesome. There's a reason Statman Dave covered this, and he said basically that Kobbie Mainoo is second worst in our team in terms of errors leading to shots this season after Ugarte, and this is adjusted per 90. So anytime he comes on, we're just horrible defensively. And listen, we can go look at what's it called? Oh, excuse me. We can go look at um we can go look at Paul Scholes and say, well, what do you want us to do now, right? Because he keeps making these defensive mistakes, and it's not like we're forcing him to make them. It's not like Amorim is not giving him enough time on the pitch. Like, that's just stuff you should know how to do. So it's clear that Kobbie does not. He may never be good at the defensive side of the game, much like Paul Pogba was never good at the defensive side of the game, right? Pogba had this bozo gene where he could just completely switch off defensively, make the same mistakes, just look like he was a passenger because his brain just wouldn't work that way. Um, and Kobbie might be the same player, and maybe that's not a player that we can really carry in our team, right? You want to play a 4-3-3 system where he's one of three midfielders. Maybe that can work, but then he needs to be the most advanced midfielder because if there's any defensive work that's given to him, he's going to struggle. So yeah, that's just my two cents. Shaylin says Bruno's words aren't being spun though. They're just putting it out there now. This is intentional more from the media outlet than Bruno. Yeah, I agree. But it's interesting that the interview happened in November and this is just coming out now. Like I don't know how these things work. Seems kind of strange to me, if you ask me. Um Raphael says it's a disgrace how some fans treat Bruno. Not only has he been our best player over 5 years, he loves his club enough to offer to pay for staff to go to Wembley. Yeah, absolutely. Andy's with the Blues. What do you mean? Uh oh, Mike. Okay, yeah. It's for those of you guys that are wondering, I have a auto temperature setting on my. This is what the room actually looks like right now. I'm not actually blue, but there's white light, so that's what I look like. But if I change the auto temperature setting, if I turn it on, then it makes me look a little bit more yellow, I guess, which you'll see in a second. There we go. I'm more yellow. And I have to turn this off whenever I do the recording. So for yesterday's video, I had to turn it off because then I look too red. Outer Signal says that's the point. Bruno knew it would cause problems or should have known. Even in November, why would Bruno say that to the media? I don't know, man. Some of these things also, right? Like I'd love for someone who speaks Portuguese. Maybe Be Cool can translate the actual interview for us and tell us what he meant to say. But anyways, RJ says I think we're gonna get some Semenyo. Yeah, it's possible. Like he had a really good finish yesterday, and yeah, Rishikesh. Rishi and I have seen at least like 3 IPL games in the last 3 seasons, probably. Rishi, have we seen one every season? Or we've seen like 2 of them, and then I was also there for the World Cup in 2023. My problem with Ruben is that the midfield 2 is always inferior to midfield 3, especially the physicality and speed of Premier League. Only one team plays with midfield 2, and they have Wharton. Um, yeah. So here's the thing, right? Nobody argues that we need better midfielders to make the system work better. But also we just don't have the right profiles of midfielders right now to fit together. Like Bruno is way too attacking for that position, and Casemiro doesn't have the legs to cover Bruno. A prime Casemiro probably is able to cover Bruno, but current Casemiro can't do it. And we also need the center backs to jump up, right? Ryan says, brother, just got in, but Kobbie was an England men's international starter last season. There is no patience. He played at the 2 level before. There's no patience. Ryan, if you want to expand on that, I'm trying to figure out which side of the coin you're landing on. Oh yeah. So we've seen 3 games, all against Sunrisers. I mean, they were called Deccan Chargers in 2011. But that's hilarious. Project Wagwan says one signing you could make right now. You mean like realistically? Do you mean or just like whatever I can do? Project Wagwan, let me know. Let me know what type of signing you're talking about. I'll give you an answer. I don't get this team's vision. In 2017, we got 29-year-old Matic for 40 million, but 20 million more. We could have got 25-year-old Prime Casemiro for 200K. We were paying Pogba 300K at that point. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, because Casemiro was making like ship money at Real Madrid. Tabi Somfana says, just joined the stream. What do we make of Indy Kayla's Amorim tweet? Bro, Indy Kayla is like talks more shit than Paul Scholes, dude. Indy Kayla Twitter. Let me see. What? It says Ruben Amorim to leave Man United. Oliver Glasner desperate for job. Temporary manager plan. While club officials may deny this, we stand firm in our information from our sources. Internally, there's a growing belief that Amorim isn't the right fit to lead the club back to Premier League glory. Pressure is mounting as transfer targets slip away amid this managerial uncertainty. Club is ready to make a dramatic decision this season if expected results are not met and bring in a temporary manager. I mean, this is one of those, man, that, you know, I'm sitting here at 12 o'clock and I'm like, in 1 hour, it's going to be 1 o'clock. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're just saying stuff that you know might happen, and then you're going to claim credit for it before it happens. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't believe this guy like one bit. I think David Ornstein did us, messed us all up. But here we go. We have tech support joining from a different camera angle this time.
And a better camera, no less. Come on.
Is this the OBSbot?
This is the OBSbot. How's it looking?
Oh, I was wondering. You mentioned the OBSbot, and I was like, I didn't really see it last time you were on camera. But I guess
no. I just got it that evening. How you doing, dude?
Pretty good, man. Where's the Mkhitaryan jersey, bro?
Oh, it's right here, man.
Oh yeah, okay.
There you go.
What's that 18? Is that LA Galaxy?
That's LA Galaxy. That's when I was signed on to be their official FIFA player.
Nice.
That's my full whatever. But yeah, so
sharing PII.
Yeah, whatever. Who cares? No, but then I didn't pass the Clean Living Professionals mandate was for signing, so I decided it just wasn't for me. But still, that was in a former life.
You drinking that Mkhitaryan Kool-Aid. They saw you sneaking it into the stadium, and they're like, nah.
No, I actually asked them. I said, "What does your project have for me? How do you fit someone of my talents?" And then kind of broke down from there. So yet another day in the life of being a Manchester United fan. We can't just have enough dopamine or just any type of emotional come down.
We had an 8-goal game. Like, there's no come down from that. And like that's what I'm saying. This Bruno thing is a bigger news than the Salah thing that, he was just like, F the club, F Jamie Carragher. Nobody cares.
Dude, Salah basically down tools, said, "I'm starting a mutiny, and anybody who enjoys the Premier League title I delivered you, come join me." But then that just got swept under the rug because, of course, it's media darlings Liverpool. They're always going to get the sympathy. But yeah,
Did you see Carragher's 2 seconds in the limelight though? He was so happy stabbing Salah in the back and like twisting. Oh my gosh!
But then did you see
the next week?
Did you see Thierry Henry? Like he's like doing this like subtle like anchor fraternity, gotta defend Carragher at all costs. When it's like, dude.
Well, because he's trying to defend the best player in the Premier League thing. That's why.
Then you should have been defending Bruno, because Salah hasn't been the best player in the Premier League. I don't even think he was the best player last year, personally. But
I mean,
it's neither here nor there. Liverpool it's so funny. Liverpool can't stay in the media cycle for more than maybe 48 hours after their last just like nightmare.
Yeah.
Because if they did, you would look at the last 10 results and you'd say, "Oh, this is a crisis." But hey, whatever. Not our problem.
No, if Ruben Amorim had won the league last year, got the same amount of money spent on him, and he was delivering what Slot's delivering, everyone would have been asking for the
100%. Yeah. So, again, when we look outwards, we're gonna know hated, adored, never ignored. That's just it comes with the territory of the club of our profile. But I mean, that kind of like transitions into this whole, yesterday should have been an acknowledgement of two things. One, how good we are, and two, how bad we are. It was just everything we saw in the season in just one game. And the video you put out was absolutely perfect. I recommend anybody who hasn't seen the upload. Did it come out this morning or
I mean, like, it was 4 a.m. for me, so yeah.
I'm up at those times anyways, working. So anyways, I was listening to it and I was just saying, dude, I was saying this. This is why he's the GOAT. And it's good because people aren't talking about it. People are talking about either disappointment, chaos, disarray. You got to extract exactly what you need from those games. But I guess to the topic at hand with Bruno, I don't know how people can look at the impact that he's had for the past half decade and not have some type of sympathy. If there's any player that you should be player FC, it's Bruno. That guy has single-handedly carried us through the worst times in our club. He is the sole reason why we did not get relegated last year. Like, it is just beyond me that this is some type of question whether or not we back the player or manager or not, or back the player or back the club. Because when you look at this, you should be getting more insight as to Bruno's giving us a real litmus test of how Ineos were operating in the past summer and how his treatment is and how he's perennially underappreciated as a captain. This guy, if you're going to say, hey, the manager says we're going to stick with Bruno, what do? Okay, we really need that defensive midfielder that's going to be our center mid, that's going to be next to him. Instead, the board identified that the attack was what we needed. Not that I'm going to complain because we need everything we can get under the sun, but you're hanging him out to dry, and then you're also... this is the analogy that I read. If your wife goes to you and says, hey, do you want a divorce? I wouldn't mind, but, I'll be with you. That's exactly what the club just told Bruno. It's like, yeah, sure, you can go take this. That's not the way to treat your captain. If your captain wants to go on his own, on his own accord, then fine.
If there's one player that's deserved that over the last since Fergie retired, really, right? Is him. And then after him, probably I can think of like De Gea, Ander Herrera, right? Like those types of players that we really wanted to stay, but the club maybe didn't allow them to stay. You know what's funny? Speaking of wife, we were just having this conversation yesterday, and she was like, if she was asking me where Pogba is, basically, right? Because she's heard me talk about Pogba before. She doesn't know anything about the sport, right? And I was like, oh, Pogba left. And she's like, well, why did he leave? And then she goes, if the players who play for the club can leave and go play for somebody else, then why can't you go support a different club? Right? If your team is shit, is essentially what she asked me. And I was like, no, what do you mean? Like, that's the loyalty. You get invested in what's happening day
that's
in,
the
day
difference
out.
between the NBA and this league. And if you want to talk about loyalty in NBA, look at Kobbie. That guy tore his Achilles, went and played through every single ache and pain injury. Bruno Fernandes is the Kobbie of our club. The only issue is, obviously, doesn't have the accolades, so he'll never get appreciated for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, anyways, the analogy my wife was making, which is like the why can't you just change your club? I was like, I can't, because you get invested with the badge, watching them play, the highs and the lows, everything, right? Everything comes along with it. And then
Andy,
when I see sorry, Rishi, let me
just
just finish. Let me just finish this. So, with the Bruno thing, I feel like Bruno is a fan of the club that is playing for the club while being the best player for the club for such a long time. And he's showing the type of loyalty that fans do with the clubs that they support, right? Not just doing it for the bag, not just doing it for anything else. Because I'll be 100% honest with you guys. If I was playing for United and I was as good as Bruno and Saudi offered me like generational money, I would be crazy not to think about it, right? Every one of us here would love to sit here and think, oh, I give me $1, I'll put on the shirt and I'll play for the club. But when you've got a whole career in front of you, these guys retired like before 40, and they've got to make that money last till they're 80, unless they've got like a great, post playing career. So the type of loyalty that Bruno's showing is literally the type of loyalty that I show the club. And I'm not getting paid. I'm just doing this because I'm entertained, and he's the one doing the entertainment. So that's the crazy thing for me. But sorry, Rishi, go ahead.
Hey, don't apologize, man. I thought actually you were done, and I was trying to make a salient point there, which was that I heard Makola on Stretford Paddock today. I just saw a small glimpse of it, and he said that people are going after Paul Scholes for having an opinion on United. And he said that if Paul Scholes can't have an opinion on United, then we don't deserve to have an opinion. And I vehemently disagreed with it. The amount of time, effort, energy, and love I've given to this club without getting anything in return. Of course, I've got the joy of supporting this club. But Paul Scholes has got money, dude, and money makes the world go round. He's got fame, right? The moment he stopped being an academy player on schoolboy contract or whatever their £50 basic wages were at that time, and he signed a professional contract, from that point on, his relationship to the club changed. He moved on from being just a fan to being an employee. There was a fundamental difference there. The fact that he is willing to say crazy stuff like compare Kobbie Mainoo to what he has done for this club and say that Kobbie Mainoo deserves and he's entitled to have a place on the pitch, right? Without knowing anything about it, he's not being brought into the
Also,
training pitch
Rishi,
to.
the joy of supporting the club that you've gotten is, I would imagine, like not even 10% of the joy you would get of picking up 11 Premier League titles, right? So
Absolutely.
so he has gotten paid both in money and in kind for supporting the club, and also it's such a big payment that even after he's done, he's still associated, he's still thought about as a legend. We can't even say something negative about all the shit he talks without first clarifying, oh, he was a great player. You know what I'm saying? So
Dude,
like
I'll tell you what.
that's the most fucking
If
shit.
there was a clip of my neighbor or your neighbor sucking on his adult daughter's toes, that person would be ostracized from society. This man is going out and putting out shit podcasts. That's the amount of freedom we've given him, right? So for all of this legend, that I'm getting tired because these people don't value their own legacy. They're sat there with that idiot who got his face kicked by a horse, and he's saying, oh, "What did you win? 6 titles, brother? He won 11 titles, and you're giving the pride of place to this idiot." He spits on girls, right? And then the next day he goes and sits next to Thierry Henry, who has a daughter himself, and he doesn't have an opinion on it. These guys aren't about anything else but money, dude. Like they want millions of pounds, but they don't care about anything. They're just being nice and they're just being polite and cordial. They don't care about football. They don't care about fans. They're making
Yeah.
their buck, chasing attention. That's all they are. They miss the
Kid,
glory days.
Do you think
kid
there's
name. Yeah.
go ahead. I was going to
No,
ask,
no.
do you think there's a little bit of like jealousy with regards to the profile of the sport and how these players are now making basically in 1 year what they've had made in their whole career, whereas they had like a certain amount of like standards for their accomplishments and for what it means to play for the club? So do you think that's part of where Scholes is trying to be a little bit hyperbolic with regards to, oh, I would do this. This is the culture of the club. We're not competing for titles, therefore Bruno's a bad captain, this and that. It's like, well, I mean, that's very, very reductionist when you look at the factors that have gone into play, why the other teams have surpassed us with their squad depth and how we've, stalled behind. And guys, when I say he's the Kobe of our team, I'm not saying Kobe's titles, obviously, it's a non-starter. Bruno does not have that repertoire. But it's talking about Kobe played through injury. He died for his.
Dude, you should say Kobe Bryant, by the way, because it's so close to
Oh
Kobe.
shoot! Sorry, the actual Kobe, not this
Yeah.
egotistical 20-year-old who thinks he's actually bigger than Manchester United. He sacrificed his salary. He sacrificed so many things. He could have moved so many times. And there were times where he was close, but his loyalty shone through. That's what I'm saying. We're talking about players who actually adore the institutions that brought them up when they were younger and supported them in the times when they had all the opportunity to go and chase the bag and get better contracts. That's all I'm saying with the comparison. But if you guys want to be very, insular and try to like point things out, fine, do that.
Can I just say the funniest thing? Isn't that your dog Bruno in the back?
That's Bruno. No, that's actually Mila. Yeah.
Oh, that's Mila. Okay, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
He does also have a dog named Bruno, from what I
Yeah,
hear.
exactly.
But Raphael, you've been very patient, man. Let's hear from you about your thoughts on the situation. Then we'll go to Vinny and Shaylin as well. But please illuminate us.
Yeah. I mean, I saw your podcast earlier about this why we kind of fade in terms of energy. I think that's a really interesting thing I'd really like to ask you more about. But before that, I just want to go back to this Bruno thing. Is that for me, when I watch football players, I don't really care about their politics. I don't care about anything. I just want them to win and play well and represent my club as best they can. What they do outside of football, I don't really care. Unless it becomes to a point where it's become sort of in the public eye something incredibly offensive, like racist or something. But they're, they could be the most stupid people in the world. But I don't care about that. as long as they can play, and they play for our club and they're loyal. So but for me, Bruno is someone who transcends that, because not only has he been our best player for 5 years, he's a man. He's a man. He's more than a player. He's a man of integrity. He's a man who said, I will pay for our staff to go to Wembley. He's that guy. What I've heard is so popular around the club. Everybody cares about him, and he cares about everybody else. That's more than a football player for me. And on that level, I really care about him. And I think the amount of abuse he gets, he's our one leader, probably in the last 2 or 3 years, consistently. Who else? If we took him out of the team, who would step up to the plate? Odd matches, odd winning goals, amazing things, but consistently over a season, who else would step up to the plate? Would Kobbie Mainoo, as wonderfully talented as he is? Would Amad Diallo, as wonderfully talented as he is? As you put it, even Mbumo is struggling now. Who is actually, day in, day out, he makes mistakes. I don't care about that. I want him to play and try things. That's what I love about him.
Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah, no, great points, Rafael. I think one thing you touched on, which is who's going to be the man at the club once he leaves. That is something that deeply concerns me, because that type of leadership. Now, you look at the Real Madrid team, right? They have lost Modric and Kroos in the space of 2 seasons, and they look shell-shocked, right? Because in the midfield, they've lost these titans, right, that have carried their team through 5 Champions Leagues and all that. And I just have a feeling if Modric and Kroos are still there, I don't think Vini's also acting out as much as he does, right? So that's what I'm saying. Even when you saw Ronaldo, a person of a stature of Ronaldo, come to United, how did the way Bruno deferred to him, like, you're the GOAT. I started watching this team because of you. You're my idol, blah, blah, blah. And the way everybody tried to, accommodate him, it was Bruno who suffered more than anybody else when Ronaldo came in. Because prior to Ronaldo's arrival, he was like a goal and assist every game or something like that. The crazy record that he had under Ollie, right? So yeah, I struggle with this, and just so I can set the tone for the show here, because I've seen some people say, what has Kobbie said? He hasn't said a word, etc., etc. Guys, there are some players and some media teams that are daft enough to come and say stuff out loud. And then there's some teams that are smarter than that, who will have like a brother wearing a shirt to say what the player actually thinks, right? So that's what's going on here. So he hasn't said anything, yes, but from his actions of not signing the contract, of wanting a move in the summer and wanting a move now, before he has actually proved a lot of things in the shirt. Yes, he scored in the final, and I'll give him that. He scored against Lyon to get us the equalizer. I'll give him that. But he still hasn't given us more than Bruno, right? And he's fighting for Bruno's position in this team. He hasn't given us more than Casemiro. That's why he can't get into this team. So we're talking about Kobbie's impatience to stay and prove himself at the club. And I want to turn to Vinny now to get his thoughts on this situation. Vinny, what do you have to say?
Is it okay now?
Is that Kobbie in the background crying?
Oh, can you hear it actually? Nah.
Yeah. Kobbie's crying for minutes. It's okay.
No, it's not Kobbie crying. It's not Kobbie crying. That's my little girl. Guys, I think we have an issue, right? Our academy system, and I'm beginning to think that it's the root cause of challenges that Man United find itself in as we speak. I want to take you guys a bit back to the managers that we've had issues with, and the players who had issues with the managers. Right? After Sir Alex Ferguson left, it seems we began to see a bit of indisciplinary within the academy. We saw the likes of Lingard how they were behaving. We saw Rashford. We've seen Pogba with Mourinho. We've seen Garnacho. Uh, it's now Kobbie Mainoo. What does it say? It says we have an issue. I quite remember when Ferguson was there, right? No academy player was actually allowed to wear a colored boot. And as much as crazy it was at that time, it was to instill some kind of discipline in the kids. But of course, he left with Mr. David Gale, and I think what we are seeing shouldn't be surprised. So I am much more interested to see what the Kobbie Mainoo fan base are actually going to say this time, because if it was Garnacho's brother, we would have chastised Garnacho for doing this. In fact, Garnacho actually, we moved him out of the team. Of course, we know.
Vinny, aren't we not chastising Kobbie right now for what his brother did? Like,
It's not wide. It's not happening as widely as it happened with Garnacho. I think that's what Vinny's point is.
It's not happening.
Garnacho was, Vinny's right. Garnacho felt like an 80, 90%, and then a 10% that said he could be the next Ronaldo. This feels way more Amorim in versus Amorim out, 50-50 distribution.
Exactly. It's not happening. And thanks for your input as well. So for me, right, on the Bruno Fernandes matter, I think we don't deserve Bruno, to be honest. And this has been successfully orchestrated by our legends. So whenever they are on commentary duty, look at how he's actually throwing up this, especially Roy Keane. He's not a captain material. He's not this. He's not that. It's just undermine the guy. I think Bruno is one of the most talented players that we have had ever since Manchester United Football Club came into existence.
Yeah.
Can I say one more thing?
Go ahead.
Go for it.
I was never into us selling Bruno last summer, because I thought, as I said before, he's probably our only leader consistently. And in this time that's kind of transition, maybe, we need more leadership players. I thought Mbuma would be someone like that, Cunha would be someone like that, but we don't have enough. And in a way, we absolutely needed Bruno in this kind of transition, hopefully, to a club where and a team where there are 5 or 6 guys. So we're not reliant on Bruno. Bruno's problem is that we're reliant on him. If there were about 3 or 4 other players stepping up to the plate, every match or nearly every match, we wouldn't be talking about Bruno in the way that we've been talking about Bruno. Talking about not just us here,
Rafael, you watch him in the Portugal team, right? He has a Bernardo Silva to progress the ball up. He has a João Neves, right? He has a Vitinha. He has all these great players behind him. He can just relax and be the number 10 and just do the deed in the final third. Whereas I think the point you were making earlier, if I can just come back to that again as well, he's the only one that's like, I will make it happen, right? No matter what situation it is, I will put the team on my shirt. Almost like the father of a household, right? Who's like sitting there being like, the responsibility's on me, right? Nobody's gonna go hungry today. And that's how he looks after the team. And other times he's also a mother of the club, of the family, right? So he's taking all the important like leadership roles, just to put the team on his back and come what may, just get us over the finish line. And that's what I worry about, because where's the next leader coming from? Like Cunha doesn't have the clout yet. He hasn't built up the equity yet. Same with Mbeumo, right? Šeško's still a kid. Casemiro's about to leave. Bruno will also leave, looks like, in the summer. So what are we going to do, right? We're going to bring Anderson and Wharton, and we're just going to be a bunch of kids.
So just to finish my point, right? Just to make a quick point, I don't think it's as straightforward for Bruno leaving, because everyone thought that Mainoo had a good chance of leaving, because he wasn't like, there were a lot of links to him even from January. If you remember, the club put out news that if we get the right price, then everyone is for sale. Kobbie was linked to like 70 million was the supposed price that the club slapped on him, right?
So this Kobbie leaving, people forget that it's not actually a Amorim-driven agenda, so to say. The club 100% backs this. They are also not interested in keeping Kobbie because he has shown time and again that he thinks himself to be worth more than what the club believe. And they've realized long back that this is the same club that gave a 21-year-old Marcus Rashford 200 grand a week when even Salah wasn't making that much money.
Yeah.
Salah was given Salah was given a 200 grand contract after having a generational season after scoring 32 league goals in his first season in Liverpool at the age of 26. So these people have realized that we've given these youngsters a lot of money without any good reason, and they tend to take the piss out of the club at every given opportunity. There is no loyalty, right? And they don't need much to predict how a player will behave. They just need to look at his representation. How does his manager, how does his brother, does he bring his brother, how does his brother turn up, does he come in a hoodie with like low hanging jeans, or does he come in a suit, is he sharp, is he respectful, does he say the right things, does he speak too much in the meeting, right? These are all things that a Jason Wilcox will look at, or Matt Graves, whatever his name
Actually,
is.
that's part of clean living professional, right? Because
Exactly.
if you have the right let's say environment around you, that's the only way you can be a clean living professional. And that's why actually, if you guys notice, like, I don't know, in your lives, like I got married when I was 30 years old. We have some people here that are maybe married or not married. Footballers get married very early on. They have girlfriends, they have kids very early on. It's really important for them to stay grounded in a family, have something to do after the games, right? So what, Phil Foden has like 5 kids now. If he didn't
Raheem
have
Sterling.
Raheem Sterling.
Yeah.
Sterling before 18, I don't think he was even 18 when he had his first kid.
Oh my god.
Well, Neymar had his kid very early, like Ronaldo had his kid very early, right? So these guys, like, they're just a different, in a different playing field compared to like the us normies who have like 9 to 5s or something like that.
There was a story with Fergie telling, was it Paul Ince or was it Andy Cole saying that, you all right? Are you settling in? Do you have a girlfriend? Go get, why isn't she married? Like, this is when they were young. It's going to kill me who the player was. But that is part of what we're now trying to
Definitely not Dwight York.
Oh, no, definitely not.
Wait, how many kids does Raheem Sterling have? I'm curious now.
13 now, I believe.
Andy,
Oh
I
my
think 7.
god!
At least one of them is an absolute baller. Remember, Andy, the video we had seen of that
the
1
video
year
of the
toddler?
kid running, the kid running just like Sterling is so funny, dude. Yeah.
So
Anyways,
but
we
let's
have.
say about,
I
let's
wanted
say
to
about
actually
Kobbie
finish my.
Mainoo.
If I can finish my point on Bruno, right,
Sure,
Raphael,
sure.
before you can.
Yeah, sure.
So I think you actually made a very good point. For me, right, I'm gonna say something which is very controversial. I don't think we will be able to replace Bruno, even in the double pivot that we are playing, because the kind of qualities that he offers in that role, even his leadership aside, I don't see any player offering that in that role as we speak. Bruno's football intelligence is just up there, right? He's, I think, is it 31, 32, 33? But he is running mad. Like he's chasing everywhere. Yesterday, he looked like a player who was actually, obsessed with something. When he equalized, did you see the kind of, it's these kind of actions actually comes from somebody who really wants something to work, right? It's not the normal professional. Bruno wants Man United to win, right?
His body language, Vinny, it's passionate versus Kobbie, more languid, more just kind of lazy. Like, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's hear from the vice captain, and then we'll actually hold on. Urmi, this is your first time on the channel, right? Go on, introduce yourself. Tell us where you're calling from.
Hi everyone. My name is Yomi. I'm in Canada. Right.
Very nice. Where in Canada?
I'm in Edmonton. Very cold.
Ooh.
Right now it's
Yeah,
like minus 27. Yeah, very cold.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. For those of you guys that are wondering, by the way, you can't start your car without a block heater. in that type of weather. So just so you know how cold it is, even the car is like it's too damn cold.
Yeah,
But
your
yeah,
car is parked outside. You need a blockader. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Anyway,
Go on.
I think on Manchester United, I have a lot of thoughts, but I think that a lot of people don't understand where the club is at, and then you also don't like. I'll put it this way: if you start a business or you take over a business today, you'd have to have a 5-year plan and say, "Oh, I'll fix this, then I'll fix this. I know this is going to be bad, but then I'll fix this, next." But I think for Manchester United fans, you want the goalkeeping fixed the same season, the defense fixed the same season, the midfield fixed the same season, the attack fixed the same season. You want the club fixed, you want the stadium fixed, you want everything fixed the same season. It doesn't work like that in every other aspect of our lives. So let's, be realistic about it. What have they done? They've signed a keeper. Is it good? All right. It's better than what we had before. That's fine. They've signed strikers or attackers. Are we getting the results from there? Oh, yes, we are. That is fine. I think that people think we're far away from where we should be, but I really don't see it that way. I think the next transfer, if we're able to get a DM, just the way Manchester United is right now, like yesterday's game, imagine you have a Bruno that is still where he is, even though it's kind of like a liability there, but you now have a Caicedo partnered with him. We will not concede 4 goals yesterday because there are some fouls that Casemiro should do just like the free kick they scored. You would have fouled the guy, by the halfway line. He doesn't need to get close to where he is.
Brother,
And
his legs is gone.
yeah, so I think most people think we are far from where we should be, but when you look at Jurgen Klopp's first season, they conceded a lot of goals also. Even Guardiola's first season, they conceded a lot of goals. Even Klopp's second season, I think they considered maybe 40 something goals, or something like that. Everybody is trying to have a handle of it. The most difficult part of it is scoring goals. Even though we've gotten attackers, we are still missing, a lot of goals. If we can get that sorted, the defense, will get sorted. And I don't think there's a problem, with the structure or something like that. I think we have the right players, but we are not as far as, we think that we are, really. If the next transfer season, even if Bruno goes, you give us 2 midfielders that can control the tempo, that are physical, that are probably tall, that can do their job where they can do it, then we are not as far off as you think that you are. If we keep producing the output that we are producing in front in front, that's the attackers, I think you'll be surprised where we'll end up next season.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
That's my overarching.
No, I appreciate it, dude. That's great. That's it's very positive outlook from you. And it's also a very realistic outlook, right? Like you said at the start, the owning the business piece. Every single one of us, every single Amorim outer, they work somewhere, they either have a job or they own a business, right? Those are the only 2 options, or maybe you're in school. In any scenario outside of supporting your club, you're going to be way more realistic about what you're supposed to do and what needs to be done. Whereas here, we're just like, sell that guy, give him a lifetime contract. It's always like that. We have Brian here joining us from Jamaica. Brian, how you doing, man? Nice to see you. I don't know if I muted you again. Just check your mic. It looks like it's on your side, Brian. Oh, there we go. Oh, he just muted himself again.
Are you guys hearing me
Brian?
now?
Yes.
Yeah, the service is a bit poor, but it's the best that I can get right now. So how are you guys doing?
We're all great, man. How are you? How are things in Jamaica?
Pretty much the same.
Yeah.
It's just that there's some sense of normalcy again. Some, not all in time, because schools aren't completely open. Still don't have electricity. Still don't have any water. But we're surviving. I'd say.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. There's a lot of wind in the background. Let me see if I can change the setting here. Hold on.
Hold on.
We'll let Brian figure out his settings. Shaylin, go on. You've been very patiently waiting as the vice captain on this team.
So much.
Is Brian still trying to say something? Or?
I just hope Brian's okay. It just sounded
Yeah,
a
I
little
know.
at the end. I had a little concern, but I can see him. He's fine.
Okay, cool.
Go for it, Shaylin.
Yeah, I got a couple of things, but you know,
Should be getting so much time.
this is gonna be so funny because he's lagging behind this. I think we're just gonna get interrupted.
Guys are hearing me? Or I don't know what's going on, man.
Yeah, it's very choppy, man.
I think the connection is doing all of us no favors right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brian's
Yeah.
Wi-Fi is like Dallo's brain.
It's actually service. I'm not actually connected to a Wi-Fi. There's not a lot of electricity to go on, so whatever our provider gives us, we have to work with it.
Okay, Brian.
Okay. Well,
We
it's
should let,
cool. It's cool that we get fans on the go because this is
I
some
know.
ways that we like to like de-stress.
Yeah.
We walk, we get our feelings out, and I think some of the best points come to us when we're out in the nature. I know Ermi wishes that he could be out there in that weather, but dude, we our most esteemed final guest. I want to hear your input because you say no one's bigger than United.
Yeah.
Does that apply? Is this a Kobbie thing, or is this more so related to Bruno and how we going forward?
Well, I actually want our vice captain to speak first. Him and I were
No.
discussing. in the
No.
Discord
We've been
earlier.
chatting in. The
Yeah,
chat.
so-
I've been reading it too, guys. I need to see it on screen.
So, Shaylin, you go ahead, and then I'll respond.
Yeah, I think. How about this? I'll make a point. You can reply back to it then. Okay. I think a lot of the stuff that we're talking about with Bruno has been taken out of context, especially considering that the interview was weeks ago. And I think it's more an indictment on the leadership at the club in terms of both from an executive level, but also from an ownership level, rather than him trying to force either a new contract talk or some sort of move away.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. It is I think it's a very fair interpretation that it is more of him like criticizing the leadership, the executives. But I don't think there's a context that makes this defensible. And I want to caveat that by saying this isn't like me saying that we have to or we should be selling Bruno. He's undoubtedly a club legend. His passion is clear. His quality is clear, right? That's a different conversation. But Bruno is 31. He's media trained. He's been in football for years now. He's been at Manchester United for at least 5 years. He knows how the media reacts to pretty much anything that a United player says. So he had to know, regardless of when he gave the interview, that at some point it was going to be presented in a way that could be detrimental. I honestly feel that you're right, that this has to be him having a go at the executives and probably also at the dressing room. I think he's having a go at some of the other players. And I actually don't think it's helpful overall for the captain to be doing this in the media rather than behind the scenes.
But this is where I disagree, because he's the person who has to hold the standard for the entirety of the club as the public-facing captain. It's both upon him and on the manager in order to be able to be like, hey, like, you know, this is what we're expecting. And that's the statement that Ineos is like represented, that the people who are seen as leaders inside of this club, from both the playing staff and also from the management staff, are going to be held to a much higher standard than others. And if he's going out there and if he's saying it, and I see Bruno more as probably as a player who is more of a fan than other players have been inside of our squad or even in the past. He's saying things that I would love to say to the board directly as well, and also to some of these players, right? They didn't have the courage to make the decision to go. Bruno,
Wait! I just
wanna
read your
rebuild
name.
without
Are you
him.
also defending Kobbie?
Yeah, I am defending Kobbie because I think his brother's a tool, and that's my defense for Kobbie. But
Yeah. No, Shailin, so I do, like I said, I kind of get where you're coming from, but I do think there's a big difference for a captain in how these things are done, right? So if you're the guy that's supposed to uphold
But
and
what
maintain
option
the
does he
standards
have? You can't. What other way does he do it?
Yes,
Does he do
many
it behind
options.
closed
behind the
doors?
scenes, yeah, in the dressing room. You don't do this thing
this is
publicly.
exactly. We don't know if he's already done that, and he's just
We
gone.
don't
What?
care.
This
Sure.
isn't changing
We don't
anything.
care.
Yeah, but
He's
even
the
if he has
captain,
done it,
he has to act like a captain. I
Yeah.
don't care if my brother has a problem with my mom and then goes on social media to go post it there. I don't care. You are the captain of Manchester United. You know the pressure the club is under. You know the pressure the coach is under. You know the pressure
This
the owners
club
are
will be
under.
under
And then you
pressure
come
with
out.
or without
See,
Bruno's comments.
I really don't care.
I'm just telling you.
conditions-
Do you
club
guys
will be under
estimate,
pressure
guys? One
regardless.
second. One question. When Roy Keane had a hit out at his players in the preseason when they lost 4-1 to Middlesbrough, and he isolated in that METV interview that infamously got him out of the club due to Fergie seeing that it was too late for his time, destabilizing comments. Would you categorize Roy Keane as a good captain? Rhetorically, the answer is yes. Okay.
Mhm.
Sometimes, in order to make a message, when you're the only guy putting up your share of responsibility, effort, intensity, and you look around, you have people being languid during training, not applying themselves. There's no aggression in the way that they play. Sometimes you have to make comments about how frustrated you are that nobody else is understanding what it is to play for the badge. So
But Sean,
I think captains are very smart with their emotional intelligence as well. This is deliberate. You can't say he's got to know better. He does know better, and he did know better, and that's why he said it.
okay, but Sean, don't you think that Ferguson was right in getting rid of Roy Keane for those
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
No,
Really?
not at that time.
I honestly think he was. And look, Ferguson was successful for
Ferguson
such a long.
wanted
Sorry, let me just
control.
land here.
Yeah.
He was successful for such a long period for exactly this. He always kept control of the dressing room. Once you start causing issues in the public, you start causing issues within the media, you're gone. So for that same reason, Ferguson, as soon as
But the manner which you
Outer
left,
signal, hold on.
Andy, I want to hear what you say.
Hold on. Sorry. One thing I want to say, I think we have a pretty good read on who David Beckham is as a player, as a man. Okay. Don't you think he jumped the gun a little bit in terms of getting Beckham out of the club when he wanted to stay just because he was dating whatever Posh Spice, right? Don't you think it was a little jumping the gun with David Beckham? Like, I'm not saying all his decisions were wrong, right? Because he got rid of Yap Stam as well. He got rid of other people because he said something in his book. Whatever. There's a bunch of them. But you can't sit here and say that every decision he made was right. That would just be revisionism, right?
I see what you're saying. But honestly, I do think the Beckham decision was right. And I get it. Beckham was a beloved player. He was fantastic for us. And he probably could have given more to United at the time. But Ferguson is thinking about the long-term health of the club. He's thinking about success year after year after year. So, and obviously he achieved that.
So
And
what
if
in
he-
Bruno's
so I think that
comments,
Ferguson was correct.
right? But what in Bruno's comments suggests that he isn't thinking of the long-term health of the club when he is calling out the players and when he's calling out the executive team?
I think Bruno.
Oh,
Thing gone.
We both lost outer
Both of you
signal.
guys, I think he lost his outer signal.
Okay,
Am
then
I
he's back.
popping in and out?
Okay.
You're good. You're good.
it's like
Continue.
Brian just shared his Wi-Fi with outer signal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually in Jamaica right now, guys. No, so once you start talking to the press, it's different. I agree. I actually think Bruno's intentions are correct. And like I said, this is not me like going at Bruno. I love the man. I think he's our most important player of the last 5 years, undoubtedly a club legend. But once a player starts speaking to the media like this and creating and adding to the pressure, it's unhelpful to the immediacy of what's happening in the dressing room. And I think as a manager or as a club, you have to start thinking about
Can
that.
I give
And
an
think
analogy
that-
for you, Outer? Because I think we're not so saying whether it's right for someone to leave the club versus how you do it. If you've been in a relationship with a girl for 4 or 5 years, she's been loyal, but then there's some extenuating factor that means that you have to obviously break ways. Are you going to do it via text, via a public, PR, or are you going to have a sit-down conversation, say, hey, this is not working out, whatever, yada, yada. That's what I'm saying. And United have been horrible in the way they've treated players either at their prime or on the tail end of it that they've decided that they no longer need in their squad. They've had a horrible way of getting them out the club, sometimes way too early. There's countless examples.
And then
Outer, can I just give my honest opinion on this? Because I've heard from you guys. I actually think is what Bruno did the best way to come out with what he said, right? Which is talking to a Portuguese outlet and giving this information. Maybe not. But does the club allow him to speak to like a Sky Sports or do a tell-all with Gary Neville? Probably also not, right? And what other outlet does he have? Like, essentially,
can
you're
I be
either
honest,
saying
Andy?
he can never... Yeah, sure. Go for it.
If he does this internally, it leaks the next day.
No.
This gets out regardless of what it is. If it's his opinion. So I mean, if you're in a bad situation, which is why I think that this the only defense that I have of Bruno in a sense of the way that he's done it is because it's as controlled as he's going to be able to get it. Otherwise, if it leaks, it's not leaking from him. It's not leaking from somebody.
I don't think so.
No, but my point is, I think he's
we're
come
trying
out
to-
with this. I think the whole reason he's done this interview is because he's guaranteed leaving the summer.
I think
There's
should
no
even go
way
January.
he's gonna leave in the summer because the club have told him last year we wanted to sell you, but Amorim wanted you to say no more. We're gonna rule the club. I think they're looking at it also purely from a salary perspective. Like they want to come in. Listen, we talked about this, Shaylin. They're private equity, right? Private equity, number one thing they do is not get involved with emotions, not get involved. So that decision they made to keep Ten Hag still haunts them to this day, right? Like that is a balance sheet number that they made a mistake with, and they don't want to make any of those mistakes again. That's why I don't think Casemiro stays at the club. I think Bruno is gone in the summer as well. And
Maguire
Bruno's
as well.
realized this
All
reality.
this dead weight, all these assets, just like you said, private equity. Whenever there's a merger or acquisition, everyone says, "Oh, we'll retain some people." Guess what happens? Board wide, gone, transition. So this is
everyone's gone. Anyone that they can consolidate, right? In terms of finding. That's why all the layoffs happened, right? Like, listen, it would be much easier for us to have 500 lunch ladies that then get rid of what's it called, Bruno. But the situation is that they want to be as lean as possible, and they want to do it immediately without any emotion, right? And so for us to sit here and criticize Bruno against a decision-making group, because he didn't shit on the club, right? He didn't say Man United is not a good institution. He came and said the decision makers, the executives said this. And that's the only reason I can look at it and say, listen, Bruno's saying this in a situation where he feels like there's no other way out, and he wants his image to be maintained at the club. So when he gets kicked out the door in the summer, at least he said something while he could.
Yeah,
exactly.
No, I think you
And
should
it-
have said it.
just-
You should have said
Ermi,
it
before
when
you
he
go-
leaves the club. Like
Before you
after
go.
he's done, then he can do an exit interview. See, this is the thing. I think that we're trying to be political about this. If it was probably when Pogba was here, if Pogba had given the same interview, we would have seen it in a different light.
Pogba has given the same interviews. What are you talking about? He was leaking, and his brothers were talking
Exactly.
every single. So
Exactly.
no.
Every time he went on international break. Every time he went on international break, he was talking.
We can't.
And we-
I have the
and we
Pogba
took-
jersey
we
here.
took-
I love the player, but no, we can't have this type of like revisionist history. Bruno,
I'm not,
sometimes
what I'm saying is people did not accept it when he did it. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying they accepted it when he did
but
it.
Pogba was not the captain, and Pogba was not flirting with going away. Bruno wants to stay. He sees the writing on the wall. He's retaining the image in the fans because he wants to play for this club. That's the difference. Rashford gave that interview talking about how the club's in transition, doesn't know what they're doing. It's a bad environment without deflecting all responsibility on himself. Can you say that Bruno's not trying or applying himself?
But this is my point. I don't care if you are trying, if you are not trying, if you want to stay, if you want to go, I don't care. What you've done is you've gone to the press. So the circumstances that it's around you going to the press, I don't care. Now you are also the captain. I don't. It would have been nice if I heard from the press. Oh, there was a big fight when Bruno went to meet like the leadership team, and was telling them, "You guys ratted me out. Why would you do that to me? I'm the captain. If you have a problem with me, sit down with me. Don't do that again next time." There was a big fight. The sports, the doors, the windows, everything. I would appreciate that. But so after all of this, now you still continue being the captain. Now you say you have people in your team, who are not giving their best, but then you still continue to be.
Hold on 1 second. You're saying you don't care about this, you don't care about that, you don't care about the context, right?
Yes.
Let me propose an alternative to you. Bruno has said what he has said now, right? He has the equity with us as one of the best players for the last 6 years. He said what he said now, and some of us here are saying it's okay. You said it yourself. Paul Pogba was every international break he went on to, he would say some shit, right?
Yes.
Every single chance he got. So he would say it 6 times a season, worse than what Bruno has said even once. Okay.
Yes.
Then the third example is Cristiano Ronaldo, the last player to win a Ballon d'Or at this club, went and spewed all that nonsense to Piers Morgan. Now, Ronaldo, for me, has a lot more equity with this club than Bruno has, just because 3 titles, Ballon d'Or, even though he was here for his prime for a short period of time, doesn't matter. So that's the context. Ronaldo does have more equity, but what he said was horrible. For me, it still haunts me to this day. In fact, for me, it hurt me in the GOAT debate a little bit, the way he behaved about this club, because he didn't just shit on the decision makers. He didn't shit on the Glazers. He said the lunch lady's mom, her grandma, everybody. He was going after everyone, right? So when you say context doesn't matter, it very much does. And how you say something, what you're saying, all of that matters. So for me, Bruno hasn't disrespected the club. Bruno hasn't disrespected his teammates. All he's saying is that the decision makers, they wanted to be very private equity about it without saying the private equity word. And they wanted to make a decision based on the salary, based on how much money they could get in. But I didn't want to leave and Ruben didn't want me to leave. That's all he said.
Yeah, but then that's what I'm saying. You are the
But
captain.
the club
Why
has
come out
also
to say
mentioned
that?
this, Remy, right? Like in the past, like in April, they said the same thing that, we were expecting a Bruno exit.
Yeah,
I think
but
Bruno did
why
kind
does
of
he have to
add
come out to say
on
that?
beyond that statement. No, like he part of the statement was that he's like kind of beyond reproach, right? He's tries the hardest, he works hard, and it is true. But then he goes on to add there are other players that don't. So that's a shot at the dressing room. Let's be fair. And then Sean, I agree with what you said. And cute dog in the background. The club has
I
often
believe
treated
that is
legends-
Bruno.
Guess what his
That is
name
Bruno.
is? Yeah.
Bruno. I love it. The club has treated players and legends quite poorly in the past. That's true. But if we're using your breakup metaphor, it kind of feels like everybody's behaving badly. Everybody's sending subs on social media, on
You're
their
totally
Instagram
right.
stories and stuff.
Listen,
and it's not a good look.
you're totally right. I'm a biased, obviously, passenger here.
Guys, we have a super chat as well. Sorry, I forgot
Go
to
for it.
read it. No psych 5666 says, question for the panel. Everyone is saying Amorim changed from 3-4-3 to 4-3-3. Isn't that just the way the system works with the center back stepping up? I saw a video by Statman Dave today as well. I didn't get to watch it fully, that he was talking about the 4-3-3 system. There's been some other rumors as well about us switching to a 4-3-3 with AFCON, maybe with Shea Lacey coming in. I'm not really sure how much to make about this. In my opinion, I think Ahmad put it the best in the interview, where he came out and said, like, the system is a 4-4-2, it's a 4-5-1, it's a 5-4-1. We play different systems based on what the situation is, and I don't think there's really much to do with. If he goes to a 4-3-3, like, I'm gonna have question marks on my face. Like, what have I been defending this whole year, right? In terms of him not changing.
By the way, he went 4-4-2 as well, and 4-1-2-1-2 diamond. I saw in some of the transitions. So I mean, yeah, it just goes. I think it lends even more credence to the argument that this is the most flexible system that we've seen, like, in world football right now. But yeah, no, Outer, to address your point, no, would I prefer this to happen? No, but do I think that he's not weighed the pros and cons of it? No, I think he knows what he's doing. And I think we have to just say, okay, let's see what the reaction is. You call it your the same way that Amorim called out the academy for not being good and up to stuff. The same way that Ratcliffe said our academy is not producing enough profit margin, because usually you look at how other clubs do it. Same way that Wilcox went out just puffing his chest after a win, then goes into hiding the moment that we have any type of lull in positive trajectory. So I think I have issues all the way across the board. And Ermi was right. When we estimate what United is, we're still estimating ourselves from a position of the North Star of the Premier League. No, we're still trying to get back up. And this is some of the unfortunate outcomes, is that Bruno's frustrated. He's frustrated. He sees the writing on the wall. He sees that he's going to be out of the club. He's directly addressing the upper management, saying, hey, you really don't want me, and I'm still trying my best. So I think I don't have issues. But
also, I just want to add, Sean, I think what Bruno has done, right? I'm not saying it's acceptable for anybody to do it, right? So coming back to Ermi's point earlier, which is there is some context involved. Anybody other than Bruno in the squad says it. I don't care if it's Mbumo, Cunha, it's unacceptable. He's the only one that has put the team on his back consistently over and over again and has delivered. And how much abuse he has taken, he never comes out and says anything contrary to that, right? He's never like, I've done such and such for you guys, so why are you talking shit about me? But I think, guys, we've given this conversation enough credence, right? I want to talk about whether Kobbie Mainoo should now be sold. And do you guys think he should be sold in January or the summer? I had a poll put up as well. 57% people say just don't sell him at all. Ernest, I want to come to you. You've been waiting patiently. Tell us about the Kobbie Mainoo situation, bro. Like, how do you feel about this? What do you want us to do?
Firstly, I think when it comes to Kobbie Mainoo, if it might be a wide take, but if it was Ferguson putting Kobbie Mainoo on the bench, I can assure you no one comes out and talk anything about Kobbie being on the bench. And then the truth of the matter is, you ask like, okay, why?
Ernest,
So,
do you have a
because it's
frog?
Amorim.
Do you have a frog in the background, bro?
So I think it's is it clear now?
There's some sort of, okay, you got to keep speaking for me to hear it.
Okay, all right, okay, just tell me.
It's still there. Yeah.
You know what? I'm so
You made him look.
involved.
You made him look.
I don't know what's causing it. Maybe it's my okay. Let me try.
Maybe if you have like different headphones or something, that might fix it.
Better now?
Yeah, probably.
All right. Okay. So as I was saying, if it was Ferguson doing this, I can assure you, no one comes out and talk anything about Kobbie Mainoo being on the bench or him being a homegrown player, whatever we are hearing. And yes, you'll say Ferguson has the pedigree, has everything. So he can make that judgment based on experience and everything. But Ferguson as well will make that judgment based on what he sees on the training pitch, how he conducts himself, how he applies himself, and all of that. So, and I was thinking, why are they questioning Amorim? Is it because I don't know why they're questioning him? There is a reason. And for selling Kobbie, honestly, I think personally I don't want him to go because I can see his talent and the ceiling. He can be a top player. But again, it comes down to what you guys are saying, and what Amorim has said is, we've destroyed the academy. We've destroyed the academy. We've destroyed the culture of the academy because now it's not, as he said in one of his interviews, it has to be a privilege. But the players, immediately they get into it, they think they've earned their space, they've earned their right, they've earned it to be there. So, and probably again, it's because of this British media, especially when it comes to British players, they force a narrative that is not true. Because to be honest, I can't see, you cannot take out Bruno. I don't see, if you compare what Bruno gives you and what Casemiro gives you, no way I can stand there and say Kobbie Mainoo is going to give me that. He's not defensive, he's an offensive player. and you want him, who is going to sit, Bruno or Kobbie Mainoo? Which of them is going to sit? Both of them, playing both of them together, are playing more offensive. He cannot give you what Casemiro gives you. He cannot give you what Bruno gives you. So what is this hype about Kobbie and everything? Yes, he's a good player, but I just think it's because he's a British player and he's getting annoying. The only reason
Ernest,
why-
I'll go a step further, dude. He has the same defensive lapses that Bruno does, right? Like in terms of defensively speaking, you could say he makes the same mistake that Bruno does, but he doesn't give you the attacking output that Bruno does. So it's a very simple conversation. He's just not good enough to be
He's
over our two
not.
midfielders. Yeah.
He's not. He's not. I don't know. The only reason is because he's British. He's not. And they are not doing this. Every single person talking about Kobbie, I cannot see a statement or a reasoning that blows my mind to say he can do it better than Bruno or Casemiro. No one gives me that. All they say is he's a talented player. He played in the Euros final. And even with that context of playing in the Euros final, I think at that time, was it England had injury or who was out? Was it Calvin Phillips or someone that was out that gave him the opportunity? So people are not
Yeah.
even producing.
He also got hooked
concrete
on the
reasoning.
56th minute. He got substituted that game.
Exactly. See, so they're not producing concrete reason to say why Kobbie Mainoo should be playing. It's just that, oh, he's a talent, he's a academy, he's a homegrown player. And in fact, to make it worse, even the media, one of the interview, the journalist literally said the reason why we are asking about Kobbie Mainoo is because he's a homegrown player. So basically, that's the only reason. And as I said,
Yeah.
to me, I don't want him to go, but the noise around him.
It's a little bit more than homegrown. It's the Stockport. It's the local lad.
Yeah, he's
it's
from
the
there.
it's one of our own. But I mean, I get it. I get the sentimentality. But this is what plenty of us have been saying: this over romanticization of the academy and what we should be doing to get them in. Well, you can afford a nice academy, and they'll look a lot better in a team that's competing for the title. But when you need raw results, and your player needs at least 2 to 3 more seasons to understand positionally, not to challenge and completely vacate the middle of the pitch, allowing Jimenez to go to Krupi. That was all Kobbie's fault. That was Kobbie's
I
fault.
saw the screenshots you shared on Discord, right? Yeah.
But then I'm looking at Ronaldo, Brown. I'm looking at Stretford Paddock. Kobbie had such a great showing yesterday. He was so liquid on the ball. These guys have an illness where they're gluttons for punishment. They can see the writing on the wall. The guy is not meant in this setup. But then they just care more so about, well, when Amorim goes, he was never the guy anyways. And look at this reason why. So it bothers me to no end.
You know, there's one thing that we haven't talked about yet, which is, plenty of people have said, look at how the standards of our academy have fallen. I think Vinny was the first one to say it. Ernest has said the same thing as well. It's not just the standards of the academy that have fallen. It's the fans that are spoiling the academy players.
Can you
constantly
define the
backing them to-
standards though?
Yeah,
Because this
I'll
is something
tell
where
you what it
like
is.
from what? Yeah.
Yeah. No. Go finish your thought.
Because I don't know. Like, is it from an output standpoint? Like, are they winning enough? Like in their under 18s leagues or something like that, or FA Youth Cups, whatnot, right?
Yeah.
Or is it like the culture? Because I think there are two different things. So which standards are you referring to?
So for me, you can win the under 17, 18, 19, 21, 23 FA Cup. I don't give a damn about that, right? Because there's plenty of players that can do it and never make it. I saw Instagram post of some under 15 teammate of Cole Palmer that played for England with him in the same team as Morgan Rogers and everybody. And this guy now plays non-league football. Okay? So I don't care what you do within your age group. What matters is how you adapt to outside of your age group once you come to the first team. So that's the standard I'm talking about, which is, by the way, if nobody has deeped this, it has never been easier to get into the United first team than it is now because our team is shit. Okay? So our standards are dropping in that sense. It's easier to get into the team.
Right, but then you're also saying that he's not positionally fit for the system, or he's not the type of player for that system.
Exactly. So he's not showing enough to get into the system.
He's not.
Which means no, it's not just about the fit. Okay, here's the thing. Kobbie as a player, because of his attributes and his deficiencies.
Andy, I think there's some requests for your mic to be a little bit
Yeah, I
louder,
think
by
your
the way.
mic's a little low on the gain.
Hello?
No, it's still the same. Maybe go to
hello?
StreamYard. Okay, yeah, much better.
Okay, yeah. So, anyways, point being, I'm being suppressed, guys. I'm being suppressed. Free Andy. I should get a T-shirt. But yeah. So, anyways, I think it should be fixed now. Are you guys okay? Let me just.
No,
see
it's still just a little low. If you can increase the.
Let me see.
Hello? Oh, there you
Better.
go.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
There you
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Okay, you know what it is.
Now the voice
I
of
turned
reason's
off-
here.
I turned off the echo cancellation to see if it would be better, but I guess it's made it worse. Yeah, okay. Anyways, Miguel says I still can't barely hear you, dude.
He's a few seconds behind. Just remember that. So.
yeah, no, but he said hear you though.
I
Anyways,
think solid pun.
Anyways, so for Kobbie, I forget my point now. I lost my train of thought. What a funny saying that is, right? Train of thought. But anyways, Roberto, give us your thoughts, man, on the Kobbie situation.
I think I agree more with Shaylin, to be honest, in the sense that I still think that we have a player in him. I don't think he's done anything irreversible. I understand you guys' point earlier of like, he probably knew what his brother was doing. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. Maybe he told him not to and his brother didn't listen. We don't really know the full details. It's not that I'm trying to like romanticize our academy, right? I think we have fallen in standards of character, I would say, because I think we're not bringing in players that are maybe willing to work to force their way into our teams, into our first team. So I agree with that part of it, but I don't think Mainoo's done anything irreversible. I don't think he's the finished article. I don't think he should be starting over anyone yet, but I think there's still use in him. I think one of the biggest gripes I have about our team, and it was on full display last game, was that we don't know how to slow a game down when like we're just gung-ho, right? And that's fun to watch, but after we've scored, like we need to learn to take the sting out of a game. And I think Mainoo's like one of the perfect players to do that. Obviously, he still needs to be coached to sit, not jump, not press in certain instances and like leave huge gaping holes. But I think he's really press resistant. I think we can make a player out of him with some patience. Will he give us the chance to do that? Maybe not, right? Maybe he doesn't sign a contract. Maybe he forces a move. I don't know, but I think there's still a player that we could use in him. In my opinion.
I will say that I think this whole Mainoo situation is not necessarily around just who he himself is listening to, but what is the club doing in order to structure the environment that he's listening to the right people. Because we saw it with Rashford, and he needed help, by the way.
Yeah.
And we never gave him any of that type of support. And, for what it's worth, I do agree that, ostracizing the ex-players a little bit or whatnot, because they just bring and generate so much negative noise around the club, is probably the right thing to do. But that doesn't necessarily mean that we can't still have a relationship with some of those players that can help be an ear into these guys or at least on behalf of the club in terms of being able to make some of the better decisions. If Kobbie's listening to his brother, who is an absolute idiot, that's probably not the best person in the world to be listening to. Now I get like, hey, I fully understand, what you're saying, but he's a 19-year-old, 20-year-old kid. And the advice that he's getting is just from the advice of the people that he's around him. Now he might have a good head on his shoulders.
But Shaylin,
are bad. Then what are you?
Shaylin, I'm with you. I'm with you when you say he needs to have the right people in his ear. But I'm not with you when you say the ex-players need to be that right ear, because those guys are so out of touch with reality.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's the ex-players, but I also don't think the club has actually put ourselves into a position, whether it's through sports psychology or bringing in someone else, whomever that might be, to make sure that he gets that.
Okay, hold on. Let me let me give an alternative scenario. Okay, the club's not making an issue. Club's not making it difficult for Kobbie now. The issue at the club has been that Kobbie came through the youth team and into a team that had Jadon Sancho, right? That had Anthony, that had Rashford, that had Garnacho, that had all of these players who were up and coming and trying to do some of the same things that he was, right? Which is try to get a contract, try to play in the first team. So his influence, the only good person I can think of in that entire group that was around him is probably Rasmus Højlund, right? In the same sort of age bracket, because he's a fan of the club. Everything you hear about him, he's a good lad, he trains hard, whatever. Everyone else who was in power at the club. And listen, there's a lot of rumors about Rashford and the issues he was going through during the time he was there, right? In terms of what did they say? Like every truck driver in Manchester knows what Marcus Rashford's up to, right? That's what the saying is. And so you're just looking at it as the influences that have led him up to being where he is today. He's just 20, yes, but what is the influence from age 16 or 17 all the way up to 20?
Yeah, and that's
those
the
3-4 years.
Failure of the club.
I agree, but that is who he is now, right? But Kobbie is built by those things, and it doesn't have to be his fault, but that's still who he is, and that's still how he's behaving, with turning down the contract and everything like that.
Maybe I'm just romantic about our youth academy, and that's okay because football is an emotional sport and there is a sense of romanticism to it, which is why I don't necessarily want to give up on the idea of Kobbie Mainoo not necessarily playing at Manchester United. The same way that I hope Bruno turns out like Brian Robson and still continues to stay at the club and eventually wins a title with us, even if he's 40, right? But like, this is where I don't agree with sometimes, like, we'll come in, we'll have an opinion and we'll say these things and just forget the fact that it's more than just what the player is listening to, but it's also some faults from the club. Like, it's not necessarily, a singular point or a singular person to be able to blame to. We have to proportionally give it out. Some on the fans, some on the inputs that he has, some on the club, and then some directly on the player himself. I'm glad that he's not just going out there like, what Ronaldo did, or maybe even what Garnacho did, right? And just publicly airing it out. Yes, he probably did it through his brother or whatnot, but I don't think that we've really given him an alternative in a sense. Now, valid point of he wanted 200K a week or something like that. That's not great, right? Like, that's not a good look for somebody who's like almost 20, and he didn't deserve that much money for sure. So I agree with the club in that sense, but I don't really see that there's any supporting structure out there.
It's not a player that you want high up. Then is he a box to box? He doesn't have the engine. So what is he?
Well, salutations, man.
Is he talking to himself?
With some bombs, right?
Oh no, I'm talking to my friend.
Okay, I was like, Shayla, not even an
practicing in front of a mirror.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on, Robert. We'll come to you, but let me put it this way, right? I think this whole situation, for me, 50% of the blame goes to Paul Scholes. Okay, the whole reason it's getting all this limelight and we're talking about it day in, day out is actually, for me, because of Paul Scholes, because he's been talking way too much shit. I would say the other, half of the other half goes to the advisors like Nelson who are telling him what to do, and then Kobbie himself, because at the end of the day, even if you're 20 years old as a footballer, unfortunately the penny drops with you, right? Like, you are the one who's in charge of your career more than anybody else. So that would be my honest read on the situation. It's not all on Kobbie, and I agree, he could have made it much worse. He could have been a total prat like Garnacho, start wearing a Villa shirt with Sancho on the back now because Rashford's no longer there, right? He could do shit like that, and that would piss me off even more, but he hasn't done that. But my problem is just with his impatience to stick with the team, stick with the program, and play in this club, and also improve aspects of his game that we know he needs to improve. Now, if he cannot improve that, and he himself has looked in the mirror and said, I will never be a good defensive player, then fine. Act the way you want and just get a move out of the club. That would be my 2 cents on it. Nelson, I want to ask you a specific question. Do you actually think Kobbie can become better at the defensive side of the game, or do you think he's going to be like Pogba in that sense?
This is the most ridiculous conversation I've ever had. But let's start from somewhere. Kobbie was the highest rated young player we have had since Pogba. That's the first thing. Secondly, regarding your question, yes. You don't assess Kobbie off of his defensive frailties in the same way we don't assess Bruno on his defensive frailties. Is he anywhere near Bruno's level? No. But are we arguing that he was a bad player? He played well against Bournemouth. It's weird. It's like something changed. It's like people saw the image of his brother and people switched their thought process of what they saw from Kobbie. I actually thought Kobbie played well yesterday. Oh, sorry. Was it yesterday? Yeah. It's been so long.
Did you see the final goal though? How he jumped out and
yes, but how many times have we seen? Here's the thing. I've seen that from Bruno. I've seen that from Casemiro. Let's be honest. 3 goals were scored before he joined, so you can't start stating that part. Remember, Casemiro is the one who tackled the guy who it ended up being a goal.
Yep.
Let's stop. We need to first calm down.
It's the 90th minute, Nelson. You cannot
I
the game state matters. It's one thing in minutes when you have the opportunity to,
Here's my point, Short. Here's my point, Short. One of the biggest issues we've had in this club is lack of player development. When a young player comes in and when they're struggling to get into the rhythm, you pull them out, bring them back in, pull them out, pull them back in. The issue we've had is it's either the boy comes in and immediately is amazing or no. It's one of those two. You have one of two elements. It's the same reason why people hate on Rashford so much, even though they don't assess what he is. He's a good player.
The issue is, Nelson, the club, this CLP, clean living professional thing, is this marketing term they've said that, oh my God, shit's hit the fan now that Greenwood has really, the Roosters have come out. The chickens have come to roost. Sorry, I was looking for the euphemism. This is not something unique to this club or other clubs.
Yeah.
Footballers are shit people, okay? I'm just going to say that.
They're just
shit. People are shit people, okay?
Yeah.
They're now, social media and all of these different dynamics have highlighted all of these things that they were doing in private for many decades, okay? So in this modern era where you know how much visibility is going to be scrutinized and critiqued based on what you do. Mm-hmm. This guy, the Love Island half brother, that is his friend. They were on yachts with him and Lenny Yoro. It's not like this guy is some random guy coming into the fray. That's his brother, dude. So that's his team. Same way that we're going out Roberto Garnacho for the way that he's a representation of.
No, I disagree with that.
Why do you disagree? No, because I want to hear other than me actually explain the point. We've had all of our best performing stars, the players that have actually gotten us Champions Leagues, Premier League titles. They have all come out against the club at certain times. Waza didn't like the ambition of the club. He directly challenged the board and Fergie to make a statement signings. What happened? Fergie came out and said, Wayne Rooney has effectively put in his transfer request.
Can I please respond to that one specifically?
Go for it.
Because I've heard so many different arguments here. I was stewing because I was driving. You should have seen me on the highway.
I get like that too.
I was speeding, trying to get home.
You can't be more upset than Rishia at Mount though.
So we might be getting there. So let's tackle the. I don't even want to go back to the legends. Like we went all the way back to Robbie Keane and Jaap Stam and everyone. Let's discuss Wayne Rooney.
Not Robbie. Never.
Oh, sorry, Roy. Robbie Keane's different. That's
never Robbie.
No, sorry. Specifically to Wayne Rooney, I actually hated when Rooney said that. I was steaming because I agreed with what he said. He was right. The team was getting worse, but the way he did it was so poor. Yeah. And the truth was, Rooney was going to go to City.
Yeah.
And that was Chelsea at the time. That was a big fear. And the concern was, that was the first time Ferguson ever actually acquiesced to the player. He actually went, I don't have the resources to get another Wayne Rooney. And he acquiesced. It's the same reason why, instead of buying midfielders, he chose to bring back Scholes. It's the same valid reason.
Yeah, But in the
so-
subsequent
so
but in the
let's
subsequent window,
encapsulate.
he got Van Persie, integrated Rooney into because Rooney still had talent. I mean, and he was on his way out. He had everything, wanted to be
But
closer to.
Let me ask you a question, short. Andy, all of us who Robert might remember this, but we might not. But Robin van Persie was so injury prone, and he had one great season before coming to us. He had one great season, but he was constantly injury prone. That was the biggest Hail Mary attempt we've ever done. Just because it worked out doesn't mean that it wasn't. And what happened afterwards? He won us the league. We got happy, and he dropped back to the level that he normally played at.
Yeah, but the year before we lost on basically goal difference, so it didn't take that much more to put us into that. And we also had Shinji. I mean, it was so.
Yes.
So
I agree.
Okay.
I'm trying to encapsulate this with Kobbie. Here's my argument with Kobbie. I have said this and I'll keep repeating it. The model that this club has been based off of is youth from our academy. And whether you disagree, if you don't like that, go support Chelsea. Go support any other club that doesn't have that as its model. We have that model. And whether you agree or disagree with that, I hear it. But that's every single great team we've had has been encapsulated by youth players.
But we have a weak, like you said, we've had a weak development of those characters. That character. So before, when Ryan Giggs showed up in a 911 Turbo, and he had to park it around the corner because he was not allowed to demonstrate to anybody else that he just signed that new contract. When David Beckham got his BMW, it's going to be a very car centric list. When he got his BMW M3 that he adored, Fergie looked at him and said, "What the fuck are you doing driving that thing?" When all these players, they had examples before them. The class of '92, they had Roy Keane, they had obviously Cantona going in. You had Brian Robson. No, one second. Let me just say this. The team is the manager gets the captain, then gets to the players. Okay. There is now a discordance between manager is begging the captain who's flirting around saying, I can get all this money. The upper management is not supporting because we've already had 10 fucking years. This is going to be demonetized. 10 freaking years of just Glazer incompetency. Okay. So there's going to be massive turnover. Our favorite players are going to leave. We need to just be accepting it. These things will happen. We were never going to win the league this year. And even despite 100%. All that, our attack is fantastic. But that happens with, you're going to have to get out these players who have had the ego fed to them through.
Sir,
wait, hold on, John. Okay. If you keep swearing, bro, Robert's mother is gonna take away his phone. Okay, he won't be able to join us anymore.
Robert hasn't said anything yet. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, okay, I disagree with Nelson on the facts about Manchester United's youth because, as I said before, is it last week or the week before? I don't remember. I said you have to put it into context because even if you think of the Busby Babes, see, it's the Busby Babes who won the Champions League in '68. It's them.
Yeah.
So like before we came into the Busby Babes, it was like 10 years after the Munich disaster. So the club was typically in shambles after the Munich disaster. So it was typically 10 years of rebuilding or maybe 5 years because I think after the Munich disaster, the first trophy that was won at that time, and since a major one was in '63. Then even after, let me just give me a minute, guys. You just have the chat. Give me a minute.
Okay. He's got to go take care of his constituents.
He's got to go.
I think that when it comes to
let's hear from Ernest. Ernest, yeah, go for it.
I also agree with Robert, and I think it was the one that mentioned about context. I agree with Nelson as well as because United, one thing we know is built on the academy, but again, you have to give it context. And then I asked the question, post-Fergie, which of our academy players have turned out as the previous class of 92, was it 99? Which of them have actually come out and performed the way it's expected to?
Let me name you all of them. Pogba, Scott McTominay, who else? Rashford. Rashford is going to win the league this year. Again, here's the argument. My argument is we do produce good players. The problem we have is our developmental process. if
Yeah, that's
I
what
with I'm
that's where
saying
I'm
keep
going.
Bruno. Sorry,
That's
I
why
said
I'm going trying to set
okay.
the
Go ahead.
context.
Okay,
That's why
sorry.
I'm trying to set the context. Because Pogba, yes, but he left. He left.
Did he just cut out?
He just cut out again. Is it?
Nelson sent him some virus that he
Yeah.
just
I'm
accepted.
That's probably what it was.
Well,
and
can
you're
I-
talking
can-
too long, but go on. Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Can I say something?
Please.
Ernest, we can't hear you, Ernest. Nope.
All right, can I say
Don't know
something?
what happened. Yeah, go for it, Ermi.
Okay, I
Ernest,
think
just
that-
leave and come back.
I think when it comes to our academy, the problem is not the talent. It's not, can they do it? We've had a, series of years that we've raised people with bad characters. And right now, they still have those characters. I know everybody likes these guys. They're your best players. They're stuff like that. But when it comes to that, we need a reset. And that
I get it,
mean
but where?
But that might
What
mean-
academy is producing good character players right now
I'm
in
saying
today's generation?
No, but
It's a generational change. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not saying
I
it's
don't
not,
think
I'm
it's
not saying it's not a generational thing, but you don't have it as much as you have it in Man United. From
Ermi, let me just take a super
because we
chat,
just
guys.
follow
Sorry.
United, though.
Yeah.
Let me just
Go
take
on.
a super chat here from Subtype One.
Sorry.
He says, "Can you tell me what is happening with a lot of UK-based fan channels recently? I see anti-Amorim tone to all videos from UK fan channels." Subtype, honestly, just to give my 2 cents on this, and we'll go back to the conversation. I don't know what it is, man. People just seem to hate Amorim. Like, it's like his face. He's too pretty. He's too ugly. I don't know what it is, right? There's something about him that people just don't want to accept.
Foreigner
Because
tax.
he's the only
I can tell you what the problem is.
Hold
I
on,
know
hold on.
exactly
He's the
what it
only
is. But
person. He's the only person who has come in and decided, no, I'm not gonna just do whatever everybody else wants me to do. He's the only person that was hand selected by Ineos as their guy to come and lead a culture reset at the club. We've already got rid of the bomb squad. We're already not giving into everything that youth players are asking for. Because let's be honest, Kobbie gets that contract if this was 5 years ago, guaranteed. He's sitting on that contract. He's playing in this team. And we have all of these issues at the club that Ruben Amorim is at the front and center of leading. And let's be honest, Ineos have not given him nearly enough help in the public eye. Like Jim Ratcliffe, once in a blue moon decides, oh, you know what, I'm going to come out and say we're going to back him for 3 years. That's it, right? And this guy's doing like 500 press conferences every week. So I cannot tell you, man. People seem to hate this guy, even though he's the only like ray of sunshine for me in everything that's going wrong with this club for so long. And that's my read on the situation. Sean, go ahead.
I just want to say one thing, okay? So the sport has become global. It's attracted a lot of fans that have been following United since 2010. Some, unfortunately, followed within the 2020s. 2000s is when we had the recent resurgence, obviously with Fergie and the 1990s, that type of dominance of the Premier League. That's the association a lot of fans have. They back the winner. But the club identity and the youth and why the romanticization happened was after the Munich air disaster, we didn't have our senior team players. We only played our youth. And we had Sir Bobby Charlton came there. He won the title the year before the Munich air disaster. And then the first title since the Munich air disaster, he was the leading figure in 1964. And then from there, that's been our identity. And a lot of fans, I recommend you go watch some documentaries on the history of the club and understand what it means to support this club, not just support what's on the pitch. Okay. So that's where I agree with Nelson. Players now are born. It's like when you ask people in the States, like, oh, remember 9/11, 2001? No, they don't have that frame of reference. People do not understand contextually what this club means. So when people are saying we need this youth, this is that, they don't get why they were forced to do that. Now, it is a pillar of our club, but we also have standards now. And our team and our profile and our global reach is so wide that we are not making sure that those players are as hungry as they were as those players that stepped in when they saw their teammates die on that Munich strip. So this is like Man United is not, they were the best team in FIFA, therefore I support them. No, it's a religion. So that's why.
Guys, I want to, well said, Sean. I want to take us to a natural conclusion here, because again, our 44 minutes, we've talked about a lot of the same topics, but I want to give you guys some context here. First of all, I think this Kobbie situation is also the club's way of putting a marker down for all the other young players that are coming through. Right? They're saying, if you keep asking us for contracts and turning it down, you'll be out of the door.
Yeah.
Right. And that is also an important thing to look at. Second thing, to Nelson's point, that the club is always built on youth. I don't think any one of us is sitting here saying we don't want youth players anymore.
Yeah.
We're just saying we get the players that are right for the time, the situation we're in, and get those guys in. Because I'm looking at Sekou Kone, Jim Thwaites, the Fletcher boys. I'm looking at all of those guys. Bendito Montado. I don't mind any of those guys stepping into the fold and playing well for us. And Nelson, I know what you're going to say. You're going to say this isn't just any youth player. This is our best youth player since Pogba. Listen, certain aspects of his game, did they have the potential to be world-class? Absolutely. In terms of his press resistance, in terms of his short passing, in terms of how he fits into a 4-3-3 system. But you have to realize he has a little bit of the Pogba problem, where a lot of his skill set doesn't fit very well into a mold that just fits a position in modern football, right? He's the type of player.
No, wait. That's scandalous.
It's in this guy's system.
You can't say
what are you talking about?
You can only say in this system. In a 4-2-3,
That's facts, Nelson. That's facts.
In a 4-3-3, he works. He literally works.
He doesn't. He doesn't.
Wait. Let me explain. Here's what's gonna happen, guys. Okay, and I guarantee it's gonna happen. We'll sell him, or we'll take him on loan, and it's gonna be the exact same situation with Scott McTominay. How many fans do you hear talk about Scott McTominay now? Like, we lost. Oh, he would have been perfect in our system right now. I hear people say he'd be an amazing.
He wouldn't.
It'd be
Nobody's saying that. Everyone's saying happy for him, but didn't.
Yeah, but
not here.
Here's the thing: is he playing in a modern system though? If you're saying he wouldn't work here, he plays in a similar system to what we do. And
in a much slower pace league, dude.
Yeah, but the argument is in the modern game. Is this not modern?
No, Nelson, you didn't let me land. Okay, listen, you feel some type of way. Robert, give me 1 second. You feel some type of way about what I said. I get it. Okay. My point with Kobbie Mainoo is very simple. For me, what did Pogba have? Pogba had the body of a defensive midfielder, but the mind of a creative player. Okay, so that's why every hold on. He fit the mold. He was 6'4". He just didn't have his mind switched on defensively at all. So we kept playing him in the DM. He kept making defensive mistakes, but he was giving us amazing stuff going forward, right? And you could argue. Hold on, Nelson. Let me just land. I'm telling you, with Kobbie Mainoo, what I'm seeing is the things he is good at, right? He's good at he's good at finishing. Would you agree that his finishing is one of his best abilities, right? He's good at finishing, but he's not fast enough to play that high up the pitch, right? In most teams, he doesn't play as a winger. He doesn't play as a winger.
Scott McTominay played for us as a DM. He was very poor. He goes to another system, plays as an attacking midfielder, and is literally one of the best attacking midfielders in the world right now. The argument you're having with what stats do you want to use? Because I can use all of them.
I don't think
I'm not saying he's a bad player, Nelson. I'm just saying that his skill set, the things that he's best at, are not very complementary to perfectly fit into a position that goes into a team. Hold on. Rodri is a player who's good physically. He's very good. He's very good passing wise. He's got a decent long shot on him as well. That fits perfectly into what a modern DM should be. That fits perfectly into what a player that runs the Pep Guardiola system with a volume passer, etc. Van Dijk, right? He's not a high volume tackler, doesn't get high volume interceptions, but he's a very high volume passer, very good progressive passer, and he's good in the air. That fits what Klopp wanted from him in that system. My point is that he doesn't fit any stereotype of, whether you want to say 4-2-3-1 system or whatever, he doesn't fit very well into any one of those things. Now, can a coach make him work in any type of system based on, balancing out the frailties that he has in his profile? Yes, absolutely. But he doesn't naturally fit into one thing. You can't tell me he's a natural number 10. You can't tell me he's a natural, DM.
He's a natural 8.
With two other eights that work hard next to him, right?
What you're doing is completely. Wait 1 second, Robert. I'm responding to his. He literally stated he only fits DM and attacking mid, and in a very specific attacking mid where they're kind of half wingers. If you play him as a 10 or an 8, it works. And the reason we know it works is because we've seen it happen. We've seen it happen time and time and time again. And again, he's a young player. This is why I say if we were to keep him,
he's nearly 30, isn't he?
No, I'm talking about.
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm not. I'm ignoring Scott. Scott, we can move from the Scott debate.
Okay, thank you. I was like, this is not the sword you want to die.
No, because I rate Scott, by the way, for what he does. He's a box crasher. We'll move on from him. Scott, but Kobbie's ceiling is high. I actually rate Kobbie one of the highest central midfielders in this freaking league by a mile. Young. And the only reason he doesn't work is because of the requirements that you would need to play him in. And which is why I agree with you. He doesn't fit this team. And I actually say he should move. But if you're going to eventually...
Bro, didn't we say the same thing about Paul Pogba, though? We said Pogba needed to be unlocked because we needed the right players next to him. The same thing is being said about Mainoo right now, that we need the right players, we need the right system, we need this, we need that to unlock him.
Can I make an argument? Pogba gave us a Europa League. Whether you like it or not, Pogba was literally, post-Ferguson, our best player in terms of giving us trophies. Because in my opinion, any discussion we have about rebuilding is to win us trophies. Not to finish fourth, not to finish top 3, it's to win us trophies. And for me, if you're going to build that team, I need a clear idea of what we're doing. Because it's either, if we're not going to look at our academy, whoever we're bringing in, they always have to be at 100. And I've seen more good players burn out of this club than any other club I've ever seen before.
Nelson, if you want to talk about the Pogba thing, we signed Pogba to win the league. We didn't sign Pogba to go win the Europa League. We paid Pogba like the best player, one of the best players in the league, and he had the ceiling to be one of the best players in the league. And let me just be honest here. I've seen way more from Pogba, even at this age, than I did from Kobbie Mainoo. Okay, in terms of his skill set. Yeah,
you would say that if when Amorim came in, that you would build this team around Kobbie Mainoo, not anybody else in this team.
Yeah,
because of the potential. And
Listen, hold on. That's also on a forecast. That's also on me expecting him to get better in certain areas of his game that he has shown he can't get better. Right, so we're now looking at it a year later. Like I thought Ten Hag could win us the league. I thought Mourinho could win us the league. Right, those things are also true, but they didn't happen. That doesn't mean that I was wrong to think those things. So, anyways, my point is, my only point I was making was his profile, the profile that he is. Right, if he was as press resistant as he is, and he was a very good progressive passer, he would actually be like a Pedri. Right. He would actually be like a Pedri. The problem is he's good at the press resistance, not good at the passing. He's good at the final third. So when you're a press resistant player who doesn't have the legs, but you're good in the final third, we can't play you as like further forward. In the midfield as well, I think Kobbie Mainoo works in the Newcastle midfield, for example. If he's playing next to like Sandro Tonali, Bruno Guimaraes, or Sandro Tonali, Joe Linton, that works. But that's, again, two other players doing certain things that cover for his frailties. That's my only point. I'm not even saying he's not a good player. My point is that his profile doesn't fit into one of the molds of any modern system as it is, right? Whereas many other players just fit in as it is. That's the only point I'm making.
Okay.
But Robert has been silenced long enough. Go on.
I agree with that point.
So for me, when it comes to Kobbie, I'll just disagree with you, and I don't also think he works in the Newcastle team, because the Newcastle team is typically their engine is the midfield, and the reason Isak was good in Newcastle was because of that midfield of Joe Linton, Bruno G, and Sandro Tonali. I'm usually afraid of that midfield because of how intense it is, and I don't think you put Kobbie Mainoo in there. He lacks the intensity to play there. You can't, because their intensity is what actually made Isak to be good as a player. And now that Isak is in Liverpool, where they are trying to get the intensity out of him is not really good. And that's why I'm saying he won't work in that midfield, because the midfield was typically what held everything together. And to you, Nelson, I don't understand how you say Mainoo is an 8. He's not an 8. He's not a box-to-box player. He can't be a box-to-box. Even yesterday when he came on, I'm actually so surprised with people saying that he was great. He wasn't great. He was just.
I said he played well.
He
I
was
didn't say
Good on the ball. He was good on the
he
ball.
was. Here's the
He
thing
wasn't
about.
good, guys. Let me
He
just
was good
finish
on
my
the ball.
point. Let me finish my point.
Finish your point, bro.
When I say it's not like I'm saying he was bad. What I'm saying is he was too safe with the ball, and it really irked me by the way he was playing with the ball. People say that Mainoo is like a tempo controller. I'm like, guys, come on, he's not a tempo controller. Because I was having that conversation with my mate just a few moments ago, and I was telling him, Mainoo is not a tempo controller. Look at tempo controllers, even in modern history. Guys like Cruz, guys like Pedri, even you look at Dion. Dion has got a passing range on him. Mainoo has not.
Mainoo's a connector. He's not a tempo setter. He's not an anchor. He's not a sitter. He's a connector. You need him closer to the final third of the pitch. Therefore, the only positions he can play in this formation is the 10s. Okay? He's not good enough to be the 9. It's only the 10s. He doesn't get in front of any of the 10s. Doesn't get in front of Bruno Fernandes. Doesn't get in front of Casemiro. That's it. Go on loan. Go to a slower league where you can do your little 5-a-side, That's fine. Do that. Go look good. Develop that defensive sense, but don't think that you're better than what you are. Ask for 200K and think that you're bigger than this club.
Yes, and also to add on your point, Sean, then again, when it comes to him playing high up the pitch, if he's going to be a 10, I'll argue his finishing is good, but he doesn't have the instinct to shoot on goal. And that is something he will need when he has to play forward.
He's too slow, but when he does, he has the Wolves, he has the Liverpool,
Yes.
he has Man City, FA Cup. So I mean,
So
Like,
Robert,
also
I'll
yesterday.
say this. Yeah. No, Robert, I appreciate your points. Here's what I'll say. I think Kobbie does work in the Newcastle team. I will give him that credit, despite what you said, because for me, if he does have those players, like they change the way they play a little bit, right? I don't think Isak and Kobbie can work in that team, but Kobbie in that team now with Voltemata, that can definitely work because Voltemata is a hardworking player, and Kobbie would actually shine in that team. So to Nelson's point, I see the talent, right? I see the talent is there, but what I need is a little bit of little bit more humility and a little bit more patience and belief in himself, because he needs to be looking at this as saying, listen, based on Bruno doing the madness and disrespecting the club or whatever Outer Signal was saying earlier, he's going to be out of here, right? We're going to go sign whatever 2 midfielders in the summer based on all the noise that we hear. What your challenge is, because Sean just said something interesting. He's like, he probably only works in the 10. It's not guaranteed that Cunha is going to have this amazing season, that he's just a mainstay in our team. So why can't you be? Because honestly, now that I think about it, what does Cunha do, right? He wants Cunha in that left 10 to drop deep, pick up the ball, connect the ball forward.
Yes.
Right? So
connector.
if Mainoo's
It's
the connector,
ideology. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, if Mainoo can do that job, Mainoo can be very good at that role. So he needs to believe in himself and have the patience. If I was talking to Kobbie, forget about this whole show, forget about everything I've said. I would actually go to him and say exactly what I've said in the last 10 minutes, which is, I think you have the things that you're good at. They don't mesh together well, but in the right system, played in the right way, can be world-class, right? You have the ceiling to be world-class. So you need to just believe yourself. You need to realize, I need to get into this team. And if that means going on loan, then go on loan, but stop this free Kobbie Mainoo bullshit. Right? Stop. Ask your brother to stop doing that, because it's just going to turn the fans on you. And respectfully, if I was Kobbie Mainoo, I would reach out to Paul Scholes and say, can you please STF you?
Andy,
right? You need to stop talking about me.
Can I extend an olive branch here to everyone? I don't like what the brother did. Like, person, I hate that. I don't like it. And I've been very consistent here when I say, I think he should go on loan. I just think at this point in time, he is definitely not of the level, but I think it's because he needs time to develop to become that good player. Pogba, as you stated, Pogba went to Juventus. That's where he became good. He studied with Pirlo. That's why he became really, really good.
And to your point, he had the Arturo Vidal,
Exactly, he had Vidal to help him defensively and everything. So for me at this point, like when I see my biggest concern when I see players like Kobbie and people advocating for him to go, I'm like, how many good players will come here? And I've stated this. We will buy central midfielders and they will fail at this club. And when they do, I can't wait to hear what people will say. Because once they do fail, you start going, people start changing their ideology. Oh, no, it's because he doesn't do this or he doesn't do that. We did that with with Casemiro. He played one season well, poorly the second season. He's come kind of resurgence now. It's going to happen over and over and over again. And that's why I'm more inclined to go, give them time. Give young players time. Give certain players time. Give Euro time. Euro's getting a killing. He's getting a kicking right now. I feel for him. But
you know, the
still
reality
play.
of the situation, Nelson,
Yeah.
is that he's, just like Andy mentioned, he's just not going to stay because of
he'll
go.
He'll go.
Nelson, the problem is, I think you're on the same page with this. In fact, I think we're more on the same page than people believe, just because we're getting.
So I just see from a different view. Yeah.
No. So for Mainoo, I just said for Nelson. I was going to say for Nelson to stay at the club. Yeah. So for Mainoo, the problem is the noise has become so much louder than the situation is that it's more likely that he leaves instead of just going on loan and coming back. Because I agree with you. If he goes on loan. If he goes on loan and actually comes back when Elliot Anderson or Wharton or Baleba, don't work out. Because listen, you know what? Less than 50% of transfers work out for any club.
Yeah.
If that happens and he's not here, he's already moved on. Then we're sitting in a situation like, dude, you had the chance to be at the biggest club, be one of their best players, and come through this. This could be your coming of age story, right? This is the story you tell your grandkids. Like, back in my day, Paul Scholes was supporting me, but the manager didn't want to play me, and look at me now. I'm a legend, right? So that's my point. So I think the free Kobbie Mainoo, I think the Paul Scholes thing, I would just respect Mainoo so much more if he came out and said, you know what, there's so much noise around me. I'm just here to listen to what the club wants me to do and what the coach wants me to do, and I'm going to bide my time. That would get him so much more grace in the eyes of everybody. I would have egg on my face, and like I've said before, I'm vegetarian, so I would not like egg on my face, but I would have egg on my face. So anyways, guys, we've beat this horse to death. We've been here for 2 hours, okay? We've got Shaylin has changed his name like 4 times. Shameless. Okay. But nice to see everybody. Thank you for all the panelists. Thank you all of you guys for watching. I know Nightwing's waiting in the background. Sorry I couldn't get you on. It's been a long conversation. I feel like I in my sleep, I'm probably talking about United now. You know what I mean? I've got to check with my wife to make sure I'm not saying outlandish shit like, sell Bruno Fernandes in my sleep. But yeah, anyways, guys, thank you guys so much. We'll see you again tomorrow, same time. Maybe another video will come out today. Maybe not. We'll see. But yeah, appreciate your support. Thank you so much. And we'll see you next time.
Cheers.
Cheers.